This remarkable, what a journey this storytelling process is. A lot of work goes into what you just saw there. As such, for our final speaker, Dr. Maurie integrates 20 years of experience in recreation, education, psychology, and evaluation to provide therapeutic services in the community-based organization she founded. Additionally, she's my Facebook friend, and I first met her on Skype, where we've been rehearsing this talk for the last several months. She's also associate faculty at Prescott College, overseeing the adventure-based and psychotherapy, ecotherapy grad concentrations. Perhaps most remarkably, she is the mother of 4 toddlers under 5 years old. So please give a warm welcome to Dr. Long.
Silence. For some, it's healing and reflective. For some, it's awkward and uncomfortable. For me, it is hidden expectations and secrets and judgments, and the silence in my life has been so much louder than what has ever been spoken. When I was in 2nd grade, my freckle-faced, pigtailed, perpetually messy self started my first diary. Strawberry shortcake held my wishes and dreams, and my 8-year-old self wrote, "When I grow up, I want to help people in the outdoors," which is exactly what I get to do. I also wrote, "When I grow up, I want to be a mama." I remember that 8-week appointment when I was pregnant, going into the clinic, laying there with all those pictures of those happy newborn babies, hooking up the heart monitor, hearing the heartbeat for the first time, ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. But then came that 10-week or 12-week or 20-week appointment, and when they hooked me up, all I heard was silence. And the heart had stopped, and the nurse was silent, and there were whispers in the hall, and they gave me a packet of information as they escorted me outside. I told few, if any. I learned to become cautiously optimistic. 12 years, more than 20 tries, $17,000 a try, with the only fertility specialist in the state who would work with alternative families. 7 miscarriages before my son Henry was born. He was a twin that I lost at 4 months. Once Henry was born, the doctor pointed out that at 42 years old, if I wanted a sibling for Henry, I better try now. And so I did, 1 more time, and I was pregnant with quadruplets, only to find out that it was not safe for me nor the babies, and they recommended a selective reduction down to 1 baby. The day before I made my decision, I wasn't feeling well, and I went into the clinic, and I remember being so still, barely breathing as they hooked up the heart monitor, hearing for the first heartbeat, and the second, and the third, and then there was silence. The 4th heartbeat had stopped beating all on her own. Victoria and George and Alexandra were born healthy at 36 weeks. The next year was kind of a fatigued blur. I would wake up several times at night, tending to them, going back to my bed, reading the news, because that's always a great way to go back to sleep. But then came June 5th, 2017. And when I read the news, I saw that there was a shooting in Orlando at the Pulse nightclub. And my Puerto Rican partner, who's a dueling piano bar player, had not come home yet. And I know that entertainers often go out after their shift, and it was Latin night. I called, and I texted, and I waited, and there was silence. 2 hours later, I started to plan who could come over and stay with my babies in case I needed to go and identify her body. And she called. It took days to find out all who had died, including 7 of her colleagues, one of whom we had had dinner with just 3 weeks before. For months after the shooting, there were anti-gay protesters around the town, at my office, at her church, at their funerals. Henry, then 3, asked me every day, "Mama, is it safe to go outside?" To which I really wanted to say yes, but I knew that I could not. And so I would respond, "I will keep you as safe as possible, but we will not stop living our lives as joyfully as possible." During this time, we went to the grocery store, and he had to pick out the bananas for his babies. You know, the ones that aren't rusty, because that's what he thinks brown spots are. And I'm pretty sure you just don't argue with a toddler. So as I'm standing there waiting for him to find the bananas that aren't rusty, I was carrying a grocery sack with a Quality Now on it. And a man came up to me and he pointed at it and he said, "Do you think it's okay for you to show your kid that sort of thing?" And I said, "Yeah, I think it's important for my son to know that we support all kinds of love and that not everybody will understand that his parents are gay." To which he pointed at Henry and said, "Your son would be better off dead than being raised by gay parents." Startled, I looked around and I found 3 people that were in the grocery area wearing those little safety pins, the ones that you're supposed to be allies. Silence. On the way out of the store, Henry said, "Mama, it's okay if we die. We can just grow up all over again." A year later at the Pulse Memorial, my partner was asked to play for the families and the friends of the victims. As we were preparing to go to face our fears, and we knew that there were potential threats of violence, she turned to me and she asked me to stay home, saying, "Our children need to have at least one live parent." And so I spent that night the same way that I had spent the year before, in silence, staring at my phone, waiting for a message or a phone call. These days, I don't have a strawberry shortcake diary. I have a Facebook page, and recently I've been captivated by Elie Wiesel, a writer, a professor, a political activist, a Nobel laureate, and a Holocaust survivor. And he wrote, "The opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. Indifference is just another form of silence." I've been writing about our Hurricane Irma and our Hurricane Maria experience. Our extended family is part of the 80% on the island of Puerto Rico that still does not have electricity or food or water or medical attention. When one of our family members finally arrived in Florida, Henry tried to reassure him, telling him that we took our babies to the ocean, to the beach, to sing lullabies to it to help soothe it, and that he's safe now. It will just take a while for his heart to heal. Silence tells my toddlers that they would be better off dead than to have a parent who is gay. Silence tells my toddlers that we have to leave the playground because there is someone who doesn't want to expose their children to that kind of immoral lifestyle. And let me just tell you that when I'm on the playground with 4 toddlers, all I'm doing is wrangling them while they're jumping from piece of equipment to piece of equipment. Silence is the way to make me feel less when those ugly words are being shouted at me from the protesters. My toddlers are teaching me how to be brave. I will not be silent anymore. I will stand for all of our rights. I will teach our children that we will stand next to and loudly protect those that are more vulnerable than us. And when we get knocked back down, we will just stand up again. I will stand and I will speak and I will hold your anger and your fear in hopes that it gives you enough space to have compassion for those that you marginalize because they look differently, speak differently, pray differently, love differently than you. So now, it's your turn in a moment, but not yet. First, I invite you to ponder a time that you've witnessed or experienced a social injustice and wanted to say something, but instead were silent. Think of that moment and breathe in deeply the courage that you believe that you need in order to speak out publicly. Now think of that phrase to speak out loud, or use one that you've heard before, or one that inspires you, or perhaps one from a recent social justice effort, such as Love is Love, Si se puede, Porte ouverte, No more silence. And when I say go, I invite you, actually, I implore you, to say your phrase so loud that the people outside these closed doors wonder what the heck is going on in here. To say so loud that those voices that are not being heard are shaking this roof. So are you ready? Get set, go. Thank you.